Hello, and welcome to another Saturday food support group. We have these Zoom meetings every Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I just invite people to come and to share their stories because I've had so many people reach out to me in private messages and tell me their stories. And I just couldn't keep it for myself. I had to share with you all of the beautiful things that are happening when people break their addiction to sugar and carbs and processed food. And they get their brains back, they get their bodies back, they get their lives back. And they're just so excited that they can't wait to tell. And so I informed everyone that I would be recording these meetings, and I encouraged them that if they wanted to remain anonymous, that they can turn the camera off. But a lot of people they want to share. They want to share what has happened to them, and they're so excited about their new life. And then I also open it up for questions. If people are still struggling and they're still on this journey, that they can come and ask questions. But if you need more individualized care than just in a group like this, feel free to email me at innerclaritysystem@gmail.com, and I'll walk you through what it looks like to work with me one-on-one. All right, thanks. I hope you enjoy the group. Hello, happy Saturday. We're here for another Saturday food support group. We meet every Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Time to just talk. We talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm going to be real honest with you right now. I'm so happy that 500 people are not here. I have loved this last week of the workshop, and it was phenomenal. It was above and beyond anything that Amy or I could have expected or hoped. But the hit of going into this meeting right now today was like a totally different feeling. It was just like, I get to see my people. I get to see my tribe. I get to see like those that I know their name and they know my name, and I know their story and they know my story. And so just living this life with me is so important. So I think that I don't know what you think, but I want you to know that I need you just as much as you need me. And so I'm thankful that you guys are here. So for this week, we are going to start with an update from Tom. Go ahead, Tom.
I was kind of hoping I wouldn't have had an update today unless it was good. I was frustrated that I didn't get to participate in your work, the live working group, because I was so busy this week. It's crazy. But this past Tuesday, I had to do a nuclear stress test, and because of my high calcium score, CT calcium score, which everybody should do, by the way. And so then I had to brief three-star admirals in the morning. That was before the stress test, by the way. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No stress.
After I did that briefing, then I went to do the stress test, and the next day, my cardiologist called. Well, she says I have blockages, and then I'm probably going to need stents put in and all that. So Tuesday, it's funny, they're like, I could die any second, but let's wait and do your telemedicine appointment with a cardiologist that's going to do the stent procedure, and then I'll probably get scheduled for the stent procedure. And if I survive by then, it's ridiculous. I've got severe blockages. It must not be severe enough to where I need to go to the hospital now. But so I'm here now. My wife forbade me from doing any yard work, so I had to hire somebody to do the yard yesterday. So, once I get this procedure done, and I don't know whether it's going to be 2 stents, 3. It's probably going to be 3 stents. And so my cardiologist was, I was in my office when she called me, and I just finished getting another stressful task from my boss, like literally just before. And we've been it's been piling on this last week. And then I get that news, and I'm like, oh, great. So it's pretty scary, but I'm pretty sure that going carnivore on February 5th of this year and losing the 60 pounds probably saved my life.
I know.
I'm hoping that. I'm thinking that because I was really bad shape, as you know, in January. So I'm going to be frustrated if I, did all this stuff and then I'm going to die, when I just find the right thing to do. So, but
wouldn't that be ironic?
It would be ironic, and I'll be upset. I'll be looking down at all these doctors that push all that bull crap that they push. Because my cardiologist, who I'm going to fire, my wife is really going to give her a peace of mind, because if it wasn't for me, I wouldn't even have known about all this stuff. Because one, she's been my cardiologist for 6 years. I had a high calcium score in 2016. It was half of what it is now, but they never redid it again. Never asked me that. They were just like, oh, you got to get your blood pressure down. And that's all they really cared about. There was, so if I hadn't told my primary care doctor, I want to do another CT calcium score and then get this nuclear stress test, which I've done many over the years and done well. This is the first time I've ever had an issue. So, because I, family history and all that stuff, and my standard American diet was, in a lot, leading up to February was, exceptionally bad. I was really getting into the carb addiction area, and I literally have not had, I basically zero carb. I'm Kelly Hogan right now, not as good looking, but so. But I just want to say that your guy, I popped into a couple of your lives. It's incredible. I think your dad has done an incredible job of shuffling Facebook, all that stuff. I was like, man, Larry, you go, man.
He was on it. He was on it.
And, I could tell that. I saw Jackie on there. Hi, Jackie. I saw Kelly Hogan on there. I saw some really high level carnivores. When I say high level, I mean influencers that are popular. And, of course, you guys. That shows how popular both of you are, you and Amy, and how influential you guys are and how you're saving people's lives. So, I love you guys. I love you guys a lot. So I'll let you guys know. I'll send you a download DM to let you know when my actual procedure is. My son will probably come over from Ohio and be with me. My wife's on a business trip in Puerto Rico right now. So she goes, you want me to come home? I said, no. And she's literally on this 2-week, this is really important business trip, and I don't want to mess it up. So I'm like, so it'll be, it'll be okay. So get the rotor-rooter out, clean those veins out, and then let carnivore take it from there. So I don't know. If you remember in our Northeast meetup, Karen, who was the gentleman from Canada? What was his name again? The massage guy. He's had, you remember?
Bruno.
Yeah.
Bruno's had. You don't talk about Bruno.
Yeah,
no.
I don't know how I can forget that. He's such a nice guy. Well, he has 3 heart stents. He's had heart attacks, multiple. I haven't had a heart attack yet. Knock on wood. Which I'm knocking on wood right here, by the way. But I'm gonna, I hope this prevents me from ever having it. And my father died from heart disease. My older brother, a year and a half ago. So I don't want to be the third. So.
Well, let me just say something here real quick, because I think that we are in a beautiful place right now to be able to, number one, be thankful that already something inside of you, this inner knowing inside of you, triggered this change in February. So, Tom, you're already on the path of healing. Like, you've already turned the ship around. You've already changed the trajectory of your destiny, of your life, of the way that it was going. And I remember very clearly, I was in a doctor's appointment, and a nurse was taking my blood pressure, and it was right after I'd been diagnosed with MS. And she said something to me, I forgot what it was. And I said, but I'm going to be okay. And she said, you are, because you said that. She said, I can't tell you how many MS patients I've had come into this office and say, but I'm going to get worse, but I'm going to end up in a wheelchair. I'm going to end up in the nursing home. She said, but you said you're going to be okay. So you hold on to that right there. And I was like, okay. And I was like, okay, this is a nurse. Like, she sees, MS patients, 25 a day. And she saw that in me, and I held on to that moment. And I was just like, I'm going to be okay. So let me remind you, Tom, you're going to be okay.
you're absolutely going to be okay. And the power that surgeon or that doctor has is equally as powerful as your thoughts and your ability to believe and to know that you have that power within you, that you can, I know this sounds crazy. I know this sounds like woo-woo and weird, but you can literally change the cells in your body by thinking, by saying, I am going to be okay. I am going to correct the things that are wrong in my body. My body is going to work for me. My blockages are already starting to clear because, Tom, they're already starting to clear. It's just a matter of time in this process.
Yeah, it's my cardiologist, the typical, you got to stop your red meat. Red meat is called, and I'm like, I've got to remember that low carb cardiologist that I got an appointment in October. I just can't wait. I'm like, I've got to do this procedure as soon as possible. So it's the University of Maryland cardiologist is going to be doing this, or an intervention cardiologist. And I have been watching the YouTube videos. There's actually procedures now. When I say rotor-rooter, they can actually literally rotor-rooter your arteries. I don't know if I think I'm healthy enough to use that. So I'm gonna bring that up, of course. Go ahead, man, rotor away, because I want to get that stuff out of there and get that blood going more. So my heart is even though I feel so good right now, and I still walk my dog. The first day when I got home, I was pretty much, freaking out a little bit. And because she did mention bypass, she goes possibly, stents, possibly bypass, so if it gets to be that bad, I'll let you know, but I'm hoping it's just the stents. I would prevent it if I could. What do you think, Doc, if the professional that I'm going to be talking to on Tuesday, can I keep going without the stent procedure? Because they're going to go in and look, they're going to do the angioplasty and see if there's any blockage. If there are any blockages there, then they'll address them right there. So the nuclear stress test supposedly identified blockages. So we'll see.
Absolutely. And I think that, we have those people for a reason, and that they really do know what they're doing. And I am so grateful for those procedures to literally save lives.
Exactly.
But I also think that we can help those procedures by staying in our joy and staying in our peace and really being intentional about that. So I would encourage you to, if anything, get intentional about lowering your stress. And I know that just sounds like a big, okay, what do? I gotta work. I got to do this. I got to mow the lawn. I got to walk the dog. I got to, but there is a balance. There is this yin and yang where you can find this balance of operating in peace and joy in the middle of the work, in the middle of the storm. And I just throughout this week, just think about it. Just think about, okay, how can I just take my stress down a notch, just one notch, not 10 notches, just one notch. How can I just take my stress down just a little bit?
That's good advice. I try to do that today. I like what you did last week, I think it was, when you walked in nature. That was a good idea. And I'd love to do that. But, walking my dog, I'm not going to stop walking my dog. And I'm actually going to take a piece of paper in my pocket. If you see me laying around, call this number here. But anyways, enough of that bad talk. So I appreciate you letting me jump in the first minute. I just want to give you an update on that. So
absolutely. And Tom, I think this goes without saying, you will absolutely be in my prayers every single day this week. I have a list, and I write people's names down on it, and I just cover them in prayer. And so you're going on that list this week.
Thanks a lot. Amy, are you on vacation or something? Are you in a cabin?
That's her house.
That's my house.
Oh, it must be a different part of your house I haven't seen yet. So
yeah, it's a different part.
Yes, the downstairs is giant paneled everything.
Better internet connection. No, just kidding.
No,
I know.
way worse, actually.
Well, I thank you for letting me jump in, and I'll sit and listen.
No problem. And thank you so much for coming to the workshop. That was just such a blessing to have you be a part of that group. That was so fun. So I believe Vicky had a update or a question. Did you want to go ahead, Vicky? You're muted. There you are.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. I'm using my husband's computer that he has for work, so I had a hard time getting on it. He's got 3 screens here, and it kept popping to other screens, and I couldn't hear anybody, and it was just finally got it straightened out. So I had to jump out a time or two and jump back in, trying to get it all situated. But I think the question that I really had was, I had kind of talked to you a little bit about it this morning, is I've never really done, except for when I very first started keto, I did those keto strips, the ones you know, pee on. And
we call them ketone strips.
Yeah. So the ketone strips, I bought some yesterday, and so, but I didn't eat normally like I normally do yesterday. I don't know what was up with me. But I made myself a porterhouse steak, and I probably only ate like 4 bites. So I may have had only a few hundred calories yesterday. I just couldn't stand to eat. I don't know. That's really strange, but so I didn't really eat. So today I went ahead and already ate. But so my ketones this morning, when I checked, it was moderate, and so, but I am going to go ahead, and I am planning to order the blood test one, because my glucose monitor that I used to have to use all the time, that I haven't had to use in a long time because of being carnivore, it's not working. I don't know what's wrong with that, but that just does the glucose. And so now I'm going to order to do both. So I was just trying to figure out, you know, I have to re-listen to the workshop from yesterday because it just kept kicking me out. I was having issues. I was on my phone, I was shopping. So anyway, I have to re-listen to that to kind of get stuff that I know I missed on how to do everything, and what my numbers, you know, how it should work. And so, because you know, I've lost 6 inches around my waist, although my weight hasn't moved. And I have to stop focusing on what the scales say and keep my focus on my measurements. But it's really hard for me to do that brain flip, you know, to stop focusing on that scales. And so, but
would you be able to just take the scale away and put it outside in the garage or something, or far away for just a month?
I have had that on my habit tracker, but for the last several months, but haven't done it yet. So
maybe
that's my addiction.
maybe you said this in this meeting today just for it to be out in the open, because I know that the addictive mind loves to keep everything in the secret. And so whenever you say things out in the open, it's just like it shines this light on it, like a spotlight. And so if you're telling me that this is a problem for you, then we have the power, we have the control to remove that problem. And I'm not saying throw your scale away. I'm saying put it in a different place, like in your garage. And then you get to decide. Say, hey, Emily, I think I'm going to weigh myself once a week. Hey, Emily, I think I'm going to weigh myself once a month. What would be most comfortable to you? Or are you not totally not ready to do that yet?
I think I could maybe pull off once a week.
Okay.
I think I would get to the point. What I'm afraid of is that I would get to the point to where I'd get so scared that I wind up starving myself, because I'm scared of what the scales are going to say when I step on it. I weigh every single morning. There's not a morning that goes by that I do not step on that scales. soon as I get up, go to the bathroom, I step on the scales. That's every morning. And so I have been fighting this for the last 6 months since I've been on carnivore, that I need to stop this. It's like a major addiction. And so, and I get frustrated because the scales are not going down. I've been stuck, but my inches are going down. And so I have to try to, like I said, just remind myself of that, but it seems to not work, if that makes sense. I still keep focusing, hyper focused on that scales.
So remind me why you are here and what your purpose and your goal is for this.
Well, my initial purpose was to get my autoimmune, IBS, IBD, all under control. Those are all gone. Arthritis is gone. The inflammation in all my joints is gone. Panic attacks, anxiety attacks gone. So, you know,
so what does this scale tell you about those?
I don't think it tells me anything.
So what I see, and this is just me, this is totally just me, is that this is just a distraction. This is just a like a little like bug on the windshield that's just trying to disturb your clear vision, because you've got a very clear vision. I know, I follow you, Vicki. I talk to you on a regular basis. I know the high level of vibration that you operate on a daily basis. And there's just this obnoxious little bug on your windshield that is just trying to make you feel like a failure, and just sitting there like ready to tell you and pounce and tell you you've messed up, you're messing up. And it's a lie. It's an absolute lie. So what we can do is we have the power to be able to just, number one, acknowledge that lie and say, and you know this, you said this just now, I recognize that it's not about the scale. And so what we can do is we can just take away that power and just remove it. And if it causes you anxiety to only weigh yourself once a week, I'm right here. Let's be turtles. Let's go slowly through this transition. Let's do it every other day and just see how that hits. We don't have to rip the Band-Aid off. If this is an addiction, that's okay. We've acknowledged that it's an addiction. So we've gotten half of the game done. All we have to do now is just remain keeping it in the open, share it with somebody. You did with me. And now we can take it in this tiny little step. And so what would be the next tiny little step that would be doable, that you would feel like, I got this, I can do this?
I would say maybe just weigh twice a week. But when you said rip the Band-Aid off, it's kind of like, wow, because I'm the rip the Band-Aid off type of personality. Just like when I started keto and when I started carnivore, my first 2 days of carnivore, I was like, I'm not doing anything different. So I just jumped in and did beef, salt, water, and egg yolks only. That's it. And so, and then 8 days ago, I started something totally different. Ripped the Band-Aid off, trying to get rid of the oxalates. And I started taking citric acid. It's what's used, it's a food grade. It's what's used to make a mozzarella stretchy, because I have it. You do twice a day, 1/8 a teaspoon, twice a day, and 8 ounces of water. Be sure to brush your teeth afterwards. And it helps to flush the oxalates out faster. And because I'm so tired of having these oxalates coming out of my skin all over the place and causing my whole face to be a big rash. And so I decided, after my interview I had with Professor Bart Kay, that I'm going to do this. I'm going to jump in and do this. And so I did. This is not a recommendation for anybody. This is just what I'm doing. And I'm keeping a journal with everything that's happening through this walk of doing this, ripping the Band-Aid off, trying to get rid of oxalates. And so that's my personality, is to rip the Band-Aid off. So when you said that, it kind of like pushed something in me that this is something I need to do. I need to rip that Band-Aid off.
Well, if you need me to dare you, I will.
Okay.
I dare you. I dare you. I dare you to weigh less than once a day.
I can do it.
Do it and tell me about it.
Okay, so you have to be my accountability partner. Reach out to me and say, have you weighed this week? Have you weighed today?
Well, you gotta tell me what you want, because I'm not gonna push you to my level. I'm gonna push you to where you want to go. So go ahead, tell me. You want to do it twice a week? You want to do it every other day?
Let's do it twice a week.
Okay, twice a week. Let's pick. You want to pick the day of the week?
I'll weigh on Monday and Friday.
Okay, Monday and Friday.
Right.
Vicky is going to weigh on Monday, and Vicky is going to weigh on Friday, and Vicky is not going to weigh on any other day.
I heard it.
Yay. I'm excited. Well, and you're not alone. If you can read in the chat, Emily says, for me, once a week is the most that I can do without becoming addicted to the weigh-in. And that's stressful on the body and the mind to be in an addiction daily, which increases cortisol. Good point.
Ooh.
And reduces weight loss. So the daily weighing in is counterproductive anyways. Dang, that's so on, Emily. Emily says that she said, I have my husband hide the scale Sunday through Friday, and I just weigh in on Saturdays. That's brilliant. And she also says, you can do this, Vicky. Chris says you can do it. We believe in you. Freedom is within reach. Thank you, Emily. Shelly says, you got this. And then Rosa says, I think I'm going to try once a week too. She said that she had a problem with it too. Go ahead, Rosa.
Hi, guys.
So good to see you.
Yeah, I haven't been here in a while. And then I was going to mention, yeah, the addictive mind is very powerful. And that's, yes. And I'm addicted to many things, and weighing myself every day has been one of them. It used to be worse though. I would weigh myself in the morning, and then I would go weigh myself at night. And, and I would it always dictates how your day's going to go, right? And if you weigh less, oh, I'm going to have a great day. If I weigh more, I'm not doing something right. I'm a failure. It really changes your whole attitude. And we shouldn't be holding power, with that. And so I wanted to talk about, I know I've talked to you about this, Emily.
Yes.
And I think I'm finally ready to share.
You are in a safe place.
Yeah, I know. And that's why, I want to say that I didn't, of course, I've been busy with like summer stuff, and I like to golf, and me and my husband usually golf on Saturdays, but we're just healing from COVID right now, actually. So that's why we're not golfing today. But this time when I had COVID, it didn't hit me nearly as bad as, the last time. I don't know if it's like the strain, or maybe I'm healing something.
I think it's because you're in a deeper ketosis.
Yeah, maybe that too. Yes. But yeah, it was just like, for me, I just got really tired. And yesterday was the first day that I had my energy back. I just got really tired and like foggy. And I had a little sore throat, and that's about it. It was nothing,
Awesome.
But back to what I was going to talk about is really the addictive mind, our addictive mind. And I think that and that's why I haven't wanted to share this yet, but I did have a relapse on alcohol. And so I put a lot of pressure on myself, because I have gone, I had gone 3 years sober from alcohol, and this is like my fourth time. And I came to you guys, I think around March, saying that I had celebrated 3 years, and I was so proud, and I got this, right? And then I think what kind of started to creep in was the fact that I thought I was healed. I thought I was that was in the past, right? And I thought that I could handle it. And so what happened is I was celebrating, and I was by myself, and I was in a different city, and I decided I was going to have like a glass of rosé with my big steak. And I was like, I deserve this, and I thought, well, nobody will know unless I tell somebody, right? And I felt okay when I had that glass of rosé. I felt okay, and I thought, well, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can just have a glass of wine once in a while, or a drink once in a while. And it, kind of wore on me though. So I went home, and I always tell my husband and my son whenever I have relapse, because in the past I did keep it a secret, and it ended up really bad. Like I would drink, I would, keep a bottle of tequila in my closet and be like, sneaking it, and it wasn't good. And so what happened is I told my husband and my son's like, oh no, Mom, here we go again. But I'm very open and honest with them, because this is, we're a family, and this is a family affair, I feel like. And so I was okay for a little bit. And then it seemed to be like, eventually what happened is I easily, at first it was like 1 drink and 2 drinks. And I feel like this can really relate to like food addiction, because I have had sugar addictions. I've had carb addictions, and they always kind of coincided with the alcohol. And that's why I always gained weight before. But this time I told myself, okay, I'm not going to be eating late at night. I'm not going to go to the sweets and everything. And I didn't. I never did. But what would happen is I, started out okay. And the weird thing is that when you tell people you're drinking again, they're like, oh, welcome back, or,
Yeah.
Just a small group of friends. And I felt like one of the reasons I may have gone back was that I was, not really, I'm, part of a few food support, groups with carnivore, but I'm not really a part of like an addiction support group. And I feel like I've always had to just be the person that I'm like an all or nothing. So I just quit something one day, and I quit it for a long time, and I might return to it and see if it works. And this is one of those things where it quickly just did not work. It was all I was thinking about. And also I started to very quickly, I would black out again. And then my son would tell me, he would say, Mom, you were like really happy last night. You're having so much fun. And I didn't remember any of it. So that was really hard for me. Because I never, and this is like, I never did anything really bad whenever I was drinking before, but I hurt myself. And then what I realized is that I am somebody that has a very hard time detoxifying. And so, and I have the MTHFR genetic mutation, and I have 2 copies. And I started to do more research about that, and I learned that this is the problem with alcohol, sugar, and this genetic mutation, is that we cannot, and it's not an excuse for anything, but
it's an explanation.
It is. And people that have this genetic mutation shouldn't really drink, like, ever. Or consume sugar or processed foods, because basically you have a hard time detoxifying all that. And it kind of just builds up in your system when you can't get it out, when you can't detox it. And it causes this cascade of issues, mental issues, digestion. Also, you cannot, absorb certain,
nutrients.
Vitamins. Yeah, nutrients. And the big one is the B12, the B vitamins and all that. And then what I kind of learned is that when I'm drinking for on a regular basis, is that I quickly become very depressed. And so what happens is, when something in your brain, basically you cannot produce serotonin is what happens too. And whenever you drink, that's a release of the dopamine. And so you're just slowly depleting. And so I began to understand that this is the reason that I really cannot drink even once in a while, because it just really depletes me and it robs me of my nutrients. And the other thing that started to happen, and this is kind of when I started talking to you again, is that when I had gone away from it, was that I didn't feel joy anymore. Yeah. And that was really hard. It was like I was noticing that I didn't have any motivation to do all the things that I was doing. I was on this train that I was doing all these things, and I didn't even have a motivation to, at the time, do my podcast, which I'm very passionate about. And I'm also, a health coach. And I want to do all these things to help people. And that's kind of why I had a hard time really telling anyone about this, except for you and a few people. But I feel like I had to kind of heal a little bit until I was like ready to share it. And I had to step away from it and look at it and say, why did I do that? And there was never any shame or guilt.
Yeah.
But I think that's because I have really gotten into the last couple of years, gone into more of a spiritual journey with myself, where I realize we go through things because we need to learn a lesson.
You're stronger because of it. I think so many times we look at it and we could say, oh, well, you failed 4 times. No, I learned 4 times. And now I am stronger this time than I was the first time that I relapsed. So I've got this. I've absolutely got this. And you've learned the techniques of the addictive mind. Like, yeah. I was just talking to Vicky about, like, you came out into the open. You told me, you said, yeah, Emily, I relapsed. Emily, I blacked out. Emily, my kid is noticing. This is a problem. And it's amazing how that addictive mind just shriveled up and just went, okay. Rosa's telling people now. Now we can't.
And that is so true. When you said that yesterday in your workshop, I was like, oh my God, I was about to cry because it's just so hard because I've been here like so many times.
I know.
And I feel like I have to be like so strong because I've been like, a success story.
You have been, and you are.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cry.
No, you're safe. You were safe. 100%.
Yeah. And I feel like, people that don't, maybe they've just accepted their addictions, and that's what I noticed when I would go out with my husband and some of our friends, is that I felt like, it's so normalized. It's so like romanticized. Like it's okay to eat a bunch of crap and it's okay to drink toxins, And I always have to justify why I'm not doing something. And that's kind of what I had to do again, is be like, well, I can't handle it. So am I weak? Is there something wrong with me?
No, I think that you have more self-awareness.
Yeah.
I think if anything, if you were to really get down to the root of those other people's lives, they're numbing themselves with the processed food and the sugar and the alcohol. Like, I don't know one person who drinks, and y'all can just be mad at me. I don't care. Number one, I'm not judging you. I love you right where you're at. But I do not know one person who drinks alcohol on a regular daily basis who is not have some deep issues that they are not addressing.
Yeah.
And so whenever I see that, I'm just like, oh, well, you're probably going through something. And the comparison, honestly, like I don't see myself Like, yes, I can sit here and I can throw my little pity party and be upset. But I know that there's a bottle of Maker's Mark in my kitchen right now. And if I really wanted to go drink it right now, I could. It just isn't on my to-do list today. And for me, I'm not an alcoholic. Now, if there were shots of espresso in my kitchen today, I would have a problem. Like, that is my cocaine. That is my, like, I cannot have caffeine. Like, it turns me into a different person. And so that's another thing that I think is important for us to recognize, that everybody has different addictions. Some people can, like, have a piece of cake and they're fine. Me, I cannot. Some people cannot.
And I learned that about myself, is that, yeah, I have to, if I'm gonna introduce something like that back in, I think I can handle it. It's the same with chocolate. I have, a very strong addiction to chocolate. And the sweets and treats, and I dealt with that before, where I would binge and I would hide things in my closet and I wouldn't tell anyone. And it's the same with alcohol. And it's you get into this loop, where it's all you think about all day long.
Yep.
And it's back there in your subconscious. You're thinking about it. And I reread the book that I had told you guys about before. I'm trying to remember the name of it right now.
Oh gosh, I remember.
Oh, I think it's called The Naked Mind.
Yes.
And so I went, when I was like, okay, I have to quit again, because I was kind of going back and forth with it, but I kept, like, it was all I thought about, like, well, I could have a drink on this night. And it quickly became like every night, honestly. And the hard part is, and I'm not here to, like, blame my husband or anything, but I understand that he has, he can handle some beers or some alcohol, and he doesn't have the same reaction as me. And so I would never tell him not to drink, but it's always in the house. It's always been in the house. And so I think, but I've always been like, well, this is what I'm doing, and I'm going to be strong, and I can handle this. But when you decide that you are going to add it back in, it almost becomes harder.
Yeah.
It's like, you might as well not, I can't have any, or I have to have it all.
Yes. That's addiction.
Yeah.
That's addiction. That's why I can't have a shot of espresso. I have to have 4 shots of espresso every single day for the next 6 months. Like, I can't just have a little bit. There's some people who are like, yeah, just lower your caffeine and you can have it just twice a week. No, like, it's not possible, because that little mind, as soon as I turn that little mind on, that addictive mind, it is screaming at me from the moment I wake up until the moment I go to sleep. And sometimes in my dreams, it's talking to me.
Oh my
and I'm just like, come on. And so the best way to shut that voice is to starve it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there is no way to just, like, keep feeding it little morsels and allow it to just stay alive and stay loud in your head. Just cut it off. Like we were talking with Vicky, like, rip the Band-Aid off. Unfortunately, that's been the method that I can break that addiction.
And that's the exact same for me. And then when I read that book too, I read it over, and there were so many things in there that I didn't, catch before. And so I learned I have to know why. I have to know the why. Why is this happening to my body? Why is this happening to my mind? And that was the big thing, is I noticed that my brain was, it was like, it was not clear anymore. And it was, even I wouldn't be drinking for a few days, and I would still have this foggy brain. My brain was just malfunctioning, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And then when I stopped, for at least, I think it took a week, that is when my brain turned on again, and I felt the joy. I went outside, I went for a walk, and I was like so happy. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, this is worth not drinking.
And this is a better high.
Yeah.
Like it really is. It's a much better high. And unfortunately, that's what that addictive mind tells us is like, oh, you've had such a rough week. Like you need to relax. Like you deserve a drink. Like you deserve some chocolate. No, I deserve some joy. I deserve some mental clarity. I deserve some peace, some authentic calm. That's what I deserve. And I'm going to keep going. It's a lie. It's absolutely a lie. And I'm so glad that you saw that and that you're healing and that you came and that you told us. I, for one, feel so honored that you knew that you were safe to say that here.
Well, yes. And I think part of me too, didn't come to this group for a few months because I knew I would have to face. And at the time when I was in it, it was like I couldn't face. I knew what I was doing was not going to work. I knew that from the beginning, but I just had to try again, I guess. And so I think that's like, when you have to confront your demons, I guess, it's hard. It's hard. It is.
It is. It absolutely is. And that is the trappings of the addictive mind. And that's why it's so effective, is because it tells us just keep it to yourself. Just keep it here. You don't want to tell Emily. You don't want to tell anybody else. Even though
when I told you, and I felt like free. I felt free, and that's why I need to do. I need to tell people, and I will be doing like a video on it, probably on my YouTube or something. But
at your pace.
Yeah, I feel. Well, I've been like over a month now sober again.
It's amazing. That is amazing.
And I had three months of was that relapse. And I had over 3 years. And so I'm looking at this like I still have over 3 years of sobriety.
Yes.
It's like I just hit this bump, right? And so sometimes we can just live in the bump. Right?
Yes. That's why I hate it whenever people are doing carnivore or they're doing a diet and they're like, oh, I'm back to day one. No, you're not. You're never going back to day one. Are you kidding me? You've learned so much, by learning your limits and learning what you can do. And so I believe that, these 4 relapses have taught you like a master's degree worth of information on your addiction, not addiction in general, but your addiction. Now, that tone of voice of that inner voice inside of you, those lies. And so you're going to be able to be like this warrior with like your shield and your sword. And you'll be like, yeah, no, like try the next girl, because this isn't happening.
And I do think that just eating the meat and the fat for me, that has really helped. It's repairing my brain, and even upping the fat lately. I think that's really been helping me a lot too, is I'm feeling more joy. And I'm feeling like the healing is happening,
Absolutely. Getting in that deeper state of ketosis is, oh my goodness. I mean, that is one of the best techniques you can use to fight against that.
And that is what I remember from, I was keto for a long time until I had to start taking out the plant and I had to just go to a carnivore diet. And I stopped focusing on the ketosis.
Isn't that funny?
And now because everyone said, oh, you don't need to worry about that.
You're in ketosis, you're a carnivore.
Yeah. Well, and I realized that with carnivore too, it's more healing, but then, focusing on the ketosis again, that's a different level of healing too. So.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Thank you so much, Rosa.
It's all helping. Yes. Well, I just appreciate that you have this space, and I want to, make it a point to start coming to more of your meetings. So
you are always welcome. Always. Thank you so much,
Emily.
No problem. Love you very, 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 very much.
Love you.
So Vicky, did you have something that you wanted to add?
Yeah. Well, you're talking about like you have to start over where you're saying not. I had actually had convinced myself for a little bit that I would have to start from scratch. I have my journal where I started this way of eating January 21st. And when I ate the 2 plums and the blueberries out of my orchard, I was convinced I would have to just rip out everything out of my journal and start over. And then I thought, well, that'd just be stupid over, trying this experiment, basically, is what you had said. It's like an experiment, and I found out you can't do it. And so, yeah, that helped me to know that I don't have to start over. Yes, I tried this out. Yes, I know it won't work for me. And the one thing that I'll never forget, I had seen a saying one time that you are not a dog. You don't treat yourself with food. And
Ooh.
that just hit home for me, because I cannot tell you how many times when I first started this journey on just keto, that when I lost so much weight, I would treat myself with something to eat. And then when I realized that, I was like, okay, I am not a dog, and I'm not doing that any longer. And so then just like two weeks ago, I treated myself with some new clothes. I've gone down another size, so now I'm a size 4. Woo-hoo.
Yay.
And whenever I do get down, it's like I talked about my stepping on the scales. What I do is I sit down and I write down my list of the whys, and I've learned that from you. The whys. Why are you doing this? Why did you start this? And what has been healed thus far? And then I bring up, I don't know if anybody can see that. I don't think you can see it, but
no. Is it a picture of a person?
It's me.
Oh, it's your before picture.
Yes, you can't see it. Sorry.
The background stuff up, it'll work.
My husband's got this background on here, and I have no idea how to take it off.
That's okay. That's okay. So your
anyway,
before picture is what you look at.
I have my before picture in my favorites on my phone, and I bring that up and I look at myself, and 270-pound, 5'1" self, with my stomach hanging, and just how horrible, unhealthy I looked.
And probably felt.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, definitely. And it was just a miracle that somebody actually took this picture, because I didn't allow pictures. Me and my husband was in the mountains here in North Carolina, Blue Ridge Mountains, and a stranger came and asked to take our picture. So I couldn't be rude to a stranger. So, that's why I allowed the picture, because I was, being nice. So
that's funny.
And so I was being respectful, and but I was very grateful later, because when I seen that picture is when I knew I had to do something, because I actually, until I looked at that picture, I did not realize how bad I looked and how unhealthy I was. And what was so crazy is I ate a low fat diet. My husband called me a rabbit because I ate so much vegetables. I didn't allow any butter in my house. I did the standard American diet, but I ate a lot of vegetables. And I was just so depressed. I couldn't figure out how was I continuously getting fatter and fatter, when I ate so healthy,
Yeah.
And so it was when I started keto that, wow, within 8 months, 90-something pounds off, that was just amazing to me. But it was the carnivore that got me over that line of true health.
Yeah, that's what resolved all of those 7 things that we were talking about.
Oh, yes, it's amazing.
Well, and Catherine says in the chat, Vicky, new clothes size is proof that you need to. Oh, my thing left.
Kick the scale to the curb.
Kick the scale to the curb. So yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So so it's Saturday. So You already weighed today.
I did, yes.
That's okay. You got to not weigh tomorrow.
Okay.
Weigh on Monday. And then we'll talk again on Friday, okay?
The only issue I'm having is, okay, I want to do this blood glucose. I want to do that, but I also don't want that to become my new scales.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that. Amy and I were so worried. I was so worried that, because everybody says, don't chase numbers. I don't want to chase numbers.
Yeah.
And I was so afraid that I was going to start to freak out about the numbers. I don't understand it. And maybe Amy, you can speak on this, but we have people who are obsessive, compulsive, like will lose their freaking mind about numbers. But this number is different. I don't know what it is about this, but it takes away the anxiety, the spazziness of it. Amy, did you want to add anything?
I honestly think it's because part of it is the way we look at it. It's chemistry. It's just data. It's not personal. And I think that has something else to do with it, because our weight is our personal weight. Our size is our personal size. Whereas our ketone numbers, we don't see them the same. I don't know what it is, but there's like a disconnect between what's happening in your blood and what other people can see. And maybe that's part of it, is because it's out of sight, out of mind. And then of course, once you actually get into ketosis, it calms your brain down and it helps to heal that addictive brain. It shuts the thing up and it helps quite a bit. So that's my guess. That's my theory.
Yeah, absolutely. But I have seen many people who it actually brings calming to them to check their numbers and to check them once a day. That's the only thing that I would say, is you can get obsessive about checking it, multiple times a day. I just don't have the money. Like those strips cost money. And so I can afford to check it every morning, right when I wake up every morning. And that's what I do. And that keeps me on that. So if you want to change, your shifting and your data entry, just shift to your blood glucose and your ketones and getting that Dr. Boz ratio. And then you can hopefully just shift completely away from the scale. Like who cares what the scale says? You know what your body's doing. We are out of time. That was such a great conversation on so many levels. Thank you guys, everyone who shared. Thank you for everyone that's been just sharing the love in the chat. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful to watch you guys love each other. And thank you so much. And I will see you next Saturday. Bye.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed the group. There is always so much beauty in being transparent and in really recognizing that we're all not alone on this journey. And so if you want to, feel free to join the Saturday support groups. They're every Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And if you need more individualized care, then reach out to me and email me at innerclaritysystem@gmail.com. And I would love to walk through and show you what it looks like to work with me one-on-one. All right. Thanks.